Good morning everyone and welcome to my shop and welcome to my BMW, but this video is not about my BMW, this video is about getting CarPlay and Android Auto as cheap as possible, and if that's something that you should really do. This is the radio that is currently in my E46. It looks very OEM, but unfortunately it has a few issues. First of all, there's no wireless CarPlay, and second of all, the amplifier in it is pretty lacking. It distorts pretty bad at higher volumes, and there's next to no DSP options. It also runs Android, and it's a little buggy sometimes. So I thought I'd try something else out. And this is what I'm going to try out. Now, if you recognize this name, there's a pretty good reason. I have one of these in my, well, it was in my Buick, now it's in my Nissan. But that was their flagship model from a year ago. I quite liked it, so they hit me up saying that they wanted to do another video with me, so they sent me this. So I'm going to give my impressions on it, but I already know I'm probably going to like it because this is the ATOTO F7XE, and over there, behind Alec, there's an ATOTO F7, not X, F7. Yeah, just F7, the previous generation. So this is an updated version of that, and I like that quite very much. Actually, several of my friends have bought the previous gen F7 because they were really impressed with my S8. I don't remember what it was called.
S8 10-inch screen.
So when ATOTO asked me if I wanted to do a video, I said, yeah, send me the cheapest thing you've got. I want to see what it's like. And we're gonna. So to put this in my E46, we got a few things. This is a Eufy dash kit. This is as close as it gets to OEM fit and finish, as near as I can tell. There is DAS part number. And we have, of course, fairly generic wiring harness. I think this is Skosh. I think this is Skosh. I have no idea. Looks like that. This is for E46s without factory navigation. If you have factory navigation, I'm so sorry, you're in for a hell of a time. But this is what works for my car. We also have steering wheel control harness. Yay! It's the Access SWC1 or whatever. I've never used these before.
It looks oddly familiar.
It does look familiar, doesn't it? Hopefully mine works better than yours.
Well, we never got mine to work. We thought it was
exactly. We never got yours to work. I hope mine works better. So it's a radio install. I'm mostly just curious how the radio do. So let's unbox the radio, cause
look, just because mine's a little sad looking doesn't mean anything.
Bro, how?
Cheap parts. Don't do cheap parts.
Ew, vampire taps. Disgusting.
Yeah, that's probably why it doesn't work.
This all isn't totally free. They did send me the radio, but I bought all the install stuff myself, just because I like trying new things. So, let's try new things. Harness? Yep, that checks out. Oh, a screen protector. Neat. Kind of a cool idea. Microphone, pretty standard. Wi-Fi antenna, pretty standard. Little bezel, okay. Ooh, lots of brackets. Looks like you can kind of make your own cage to install this if you need to. I doubt we'll be needing most of that. Another screen protector. Oh, an anti-glare screen protector. Wow.
That's actually really nice.
That is really nice. 2 screen protectors included in the package, both gloss and anti-glare. I genuinely think I'll probably end up buying another one of these and putting it in my Mazda Miata, because one of the headlining features of this is a QLED display, not IPS LCD like the previous generation, but QLED. So that should result in way better legibility in bright light, which is pretty important in a convertible. Unfortunately, I want to put this car in something that I use right now, and the Miata ain't it. It's sad. Okay, I want to get a looky-loo at this unit itself. Yep, that's it. That's what head units are these days, because there's no mech to it. You don't have CD player or any of that stuff. So what do we got on the back here? Subwoofer, video in, video out, 2 video outs. I assume that's for headrest monitors. If I keep this in view, that would be great. There's the 3.5mm jack for the remote, or the steering wheel controls. Damn it, I forgot to buy an antenna adapter again. Oh well. There's our wiring harness connector. Another thing that they added is native Sirius XM compatibility on these. We get 1 USB port, it looks like. It's a very long cable. And an FM, and that's for the Wi-Fi antenna. Mic. Yeah. All pretty standard stuff. Looks like we will need some of the brackets. What do we got on the bottom here? Yeah, the pinout. Oh, that's nice. That's all pretty standard. This does not run Android. I should probably comment that. That's kind of what's neat about this, is it's just a head unit. So it's just Android. It's just not. Gosh, I can't even talk. It's not Android. It's just a radio, which should, in theory, result in fewer bugs and stuff, because it's not running a whole darned Android operating system on here. It's just doing just what it needs to. And wireless CarPlay, which is pretty cool. So I believe this also does 1.5 watt charging? No, 1.5 amp charging through the USB port, which is neat. I'll probably use an external charger, but yeah, let's go slap this thing in. I didn't want this video to consist of a whole bunch of me flubbing around trying to figure out how on earth to wire this. This is not really a how to install video, but here's what I did. So first off, this bracket is incredibly overbuilt. You can kind of get an idea of how it works. Tabs go on the side, and then back pieces screw into the front pieces. There was some sprue that I had to cut off. And all these pieces say Metra on them, even though that's not the brand I ordered from. I don't know. Wiring harnesses. Here we go. This is the fun part. So here's the Access. Okay, stay there. Here's the Access SW1. Most of these wires are not used. The wires that are used are red and black, which go to the switched power and chassis ground of the stereo harness. And then this pink wire goes into the factory harness. It goes to this pin here. Look up the manual. It makes it very clear which one it is. Just don't go based off what I just said. Okay, that's very difficult to tell exactly what I'm pointing at. And then we did actually use the headphone jack one. The headphone jack goes to headphone jack. Steering wheel audio control. And then to set this up, there's blink codes that you have to do. You push and hold up on the steering wheel button until it turns solid, and then you're good to go. And then you set it to the 8th radio option. I don't remember what that is, but you need to set this to the 8th radio option to work with this guy, and then you'll have steering wheel controls. As far as everything else goes, GPS, the Wi-Fi antenna and stuff, we're just throwing it in there. Wait, I'm using CarPlay. I've been testing this, and I don't even have the antenna hooked up. So CarPlay should work a lot better for me once I actually plug the antenna in. So we're just going to throw everything back in here. My amp turn-on wire, I did actually put a bullet connector in there when I installed my first radio, so that's cool. Unfortunately, this only has one subwoofer out, and I have 2 RCAs, so I guess we're just going to have 1 RC, and I didn't leave enough extra length, so it kind of sucks to plug it into here. Oh well. So I'm going to get this part way in the dash and then show you kind of the nifty thing about how this dash kit snaps together. But I've done some testing, and I am very pleased with this thing so far, but I'll elaborate that in a minute. Alright, it's installed. Got the screws here and that guy clipped in. What is it? It's the air vent. That's what they're called. My gosh, worst thing ever to remove. This front bezel has these nice little clips on it, and it actually fits over the pegs on the side here, and then clips in. And I definitely fit my I fit something wrong here. What on earth? I need to move the radio back in the brackets. Well, that's extremely annoying, but I'll take it back out and do that, I guess. But first, I'm going to show off the radio a bit. I just turned it on from being off. Okay. Honestly, really cool. So I've got wireless CarPlay going on here. It was super easy. You just pair your phone like you would Bluetooth, and it says, hey, do you want to do CarPlay? And you say yes, and your phone goes, hey, I found CarPlay. And that all happens through Bluetooth, and then it negotiates Wi-Fi, because that's how that works. What else is cool is when I have CarPlay connected, I have this button mapped to the microphone button. When I push it, it jumps straight over to CarPlay and immediately pulls up Siri. And then as soon as it is done with that negotiation, it goes back to whatever you were doing, which could be Sirius XM, because this does support that, CarPlay, Android Auto, terrestrial radio, don't know who listens to that. You can watch media off USB, Bluetooth audio, there's a micro SD card slot. You can do screen mirroring, I think that's a Android thing, I'm not sure. You can look at your front rear cameras, your AV in case you want to plug in a PlayStation, EQ, do phone call stuff, and settings. What's the phone interface look like? Let's take a look here. Oh, that's super cool. It jumps straight to the phone favorites in CarPlay. That is sweet that it has a direct jump to that. So does phone just take me straight to the dialer? Well, wait, that's what I just did. Jeez. Goodness. Okay, so going through here, equalizer, it's pretty basic. You've got a fader, and then your equalizer is a 10 band. There's not really any cutoffs or anything you can do. There's nothing that you could really call DSP going on here, which is okay. Again, the technical specs of this are alright. I believe they're 2-volt pre-outs for the front and rear channel, and then the sub is a single 0.9 or 0.2 volts. I don't remember. It's not excellent. That is one place I would like to see a little bit more, but it gets the job done. The THD is 10%, and I really hope ATOTO is just kind of giving themselves like a worst case scenario with that, because 10% THD, that's not great. If that's like a particular frequency they know this is going to be bad at, and they're just kind of managing expectations, that's fine, but it's pretty easy to get below a 1% THD with modern chipsets, so that's a little weird, but compared to the radio that was in here, this gets louder and with no clipping or distortion. The other one, the last like 10% of the volume from like 25 to 30 was completely useless because it would start clipping, and this one doesn't do that, which is pretty good. The audio quality just sounds slightly better, but I don't have a dyno or anything to show that. Going back button, physical back button doesn't exist, but you do have the one up here. Radio, it's a radio interface. There's not much I can show here because, wait, what does that do? Well, that also jumps straight to CarPlay. Neat. The front rear camera and AVN, there's not really much I can show there. It just says no video signal detected. Yeah, so that's not going to do anything since I don't have the video. I don't have USB or Bluetooth hooked up or micro SD or auto links, so I can't really show those. Sirius XM, I assume it's just look at radio. Yeah. Preview. It doesn't work. No preview. Anyway, if we go to CarPlay, I guess I could kind of show you what this sounds like, but it's just kind of going to sound like bass. One thing I wasn't able to do was program this RT button, and I'm not sure why that is. I could program this one and these, but not that. Yep, it sounds like audio, and you can mute with that physical button. So one thing you might have noticed is that the animations here aren't exactly smooth. That is kind of the downside, is that the actual interface you're going through here, kind of on the slower side, but once you're in, Android Auto or CarPlay, you're using the phone's processor, so the one here doesn't matter. As far as the screen goes, it's not bad. I would say the black point is a little bit weird. It's kind of like, it doesn't get super dark, even on what's supposed to be a black screen, which I'm not sure I can make a black screen happen. Oh yeah, I can. There, as you can see, it's pretty bright, and the backlight isn't super even, though it does look okay and decent from like where you're supposed to sit. When I turn my headlights on, it does switch to a night mode, and if I go into CarPlay, everything should be dark now. It is. It has all the hooks to do that, which is super cool. The viewing angles are pretty okay-ish. I don't hate them. I haven't put a screen protector on here yet. I should have done that. Oh well. Hey, wow, how about that? On this mounting kit, there's actually arrows pointing to where you need to line up the bolt hole, or the bolt in the bolt hole. Yeah, I had that right. And that, I bet, fixes my spacing issue. Go figure. Got it adjusted, and I'm putting everything back together. And here's one of the most satisfying noises from this whole experience. Lovely. Here's another satisfying bit. Get that lined up. That actually fits quite nice. Alright, I've had a week or two with the radio, chance to use it a bunch, and I've got some impressions now, so we're just going to go through it a little bit here, and I'll talk about what it is that I like and don't like about this after actually giving it a shot in the real world. So the first thing I'm going to do is just turn the car on and give it a chance to start up and connect to CarPlay on my phone there. This is real time, just to see what a cold start is like on this. It doesn't have the fast boot that the Android-based models do, where they go into a low power state, but it's still pretty darn quick. By the time you get your seatbelt on, you're pretty much ready to start listening to music. Sorry, I had to jump to Spotify so it doesn't show my address on there. Now, one thing that you can probably see here is the downside that I noted earlier of this screen is that the black point isn't very good, but the upside is this thing is incredibly bright and vibrant. Album art and stuff just looks... Oh, I'm not listening to anything right now. I should probably do that. I'll just pull up this new Kavinsky album, which is amazing, and you can just see how vibrant that all is. It looks fantastic, it's super sharp, and I think this bodes particularly well for convertibles like my Mazda Miata, which I will probably be buying another one of these to install there. One thing I really miss is not having a volume knob, but I realized that in order to fit the screen here with these bezels, that's not really practical. Another thing that I kind of hope that they might put out like a firmware update to address is there's not a whole lot of colors for your buttons here. So if I go into the settings and look at the, I think it's under display, panel key lighting, those are the only options you get, and that orange doesn't really match the orange of the lighting in this BMW, so I just kind of go with white because it's fairly neutral, though it does light up kind of a bluish color, but I wish they'd give us like some RGB sliders so we could choose our own adventure with the lighting. That would be nice. Other than those couple small things, I've actually been incredibly impressed with this unit, especially for the price. It definitely kicks the crap out of the Kenwood that is in my Miata, which is a similar, not Android running, basic head unit with CarPlay. The Kenwood's interface is actually laggier and the screen is far inferior, and that thing was like $400 new. Now, admittedly, there's a few years of advancement in here, but the fact that you can get something like this for $200 absolutely blows my mind now. Oh, and as far as the install kit, which is not ATOTO, this is completely separate, the fitment's okay. It's a little wiggly, a little bit, you know, I might put some foam tape in here just to keep that all not feeling like that. But other than that, the fit and finish is actually quite nice. It doesn't look near as bad as I thought, to the point where this head unit is enough of an improvement over the OEM looking one that was in here that I am definitely going to keep this. I think it's a pretty great deal. I actually think it's a good enough deal that I've already sold my mom on buying one for the BMW 1 Series that she has coming in, so there you go. I don't think an endorsement gets much better than that. Of course, there's links in the description and whatnot. Affiliate links to Amazon where you can buy one of these. Hopefully they're not out of stock. Last time I did one of these, y'all bought all of them, and then they didn't have any more. They had to build more of them. But here's the too long didn't watch. If you've got two Benjamins in the bank and you want CarPlay in your car with very few drawbacks, I don't think you can go wrong here. I don't think you're not really getting anything name brand for that price, and from what I've seen of the name brand stuff, it's not really much better. The sound quality might be a little bit better, but I don't have a dyno to prove that this is really lacking in any way. It sure sounds good to my ears, especially compared to what was in here, and Maybe one of these days I'll get an oscilloscope or a dyno and I can actually test amplifiers and see if they're clipping or having any weird distortion effects, but as near as I can tell, this sounds just fine. So thanks to ATOTO for sending me this and giving me the opportunity to review it. I've actually been interested in their budget line for a while now, and thanks to all of you for watching.